The Man Who Fell for 40 Minutes. Extended narrative for DD Media. Close your eyes for a second. Imagine you are at 47,000 feet. The air is so thin, it's practically non-existent. Below you, a massive black wall of clouds is boiling like a witch's cauldron. You are Colonel William Rankin, flying an F-8 Crusader jet. Suddenly, silence. The engine doesn't just sputter, it dies. At this altitude, the temperature is minus 50 degrees. If you stay with the jet, you're dead. If you eject, well, you're about to meet the devil himself. Rankin pulled the lever. He didn't just eject into the sky. He ejected into a nightmare that science said no human could survive. The moment he hit the air, it was like being hit by a freight train. Because of the extreme altitude, the pressure change was so violent that his body began to rebel. Blood started streaming from his eyes, his ears, and his fingernails. His abdomen swelled like a balloon. He was a human fountain of red in a world of freezing blue. He was falling through the dead zone, where the air is too thin to breathe. He looked down and saw it, a cumulonimbus cloud, a thunderhead, a biological blender made of ice and electricity. And he was falling straight into its mouth. Normally, a parachute jump from this height takes 10 minutes. Rankin would be in the storm for 40. Why? Because the storm wasn't done with him. The massive updrafts inside the cloud, vertical winds moving at 100 miles per hour, caught his parachute like a toy. He wasn't falling anymore. He was being shot back up. He described the inside of the cloud as a hall of mirrors made of lightning. Giant solid trunks of blue electricity were exploding all around him. The thunder wasn't a sound. It was a physical blow that felt like it was shattering his ribs. He was being pelted by hailstones the size of baseballs, turning his body into one giant bruise. Imagine this. You are 3 miles up in the sky, and you are drowning. The rain was so incredibly thick, so dense, that Rankin had to cup his hands over his face just to create a pocket of air so he wouldn't inhale water. He was a man drowning in the clouds. He was tossed up and down, spun like a rag doll, for 40 agonizing minutes. He prayed for the ground. He prayed for the end. And then, as if the storm had finally grown bored of its new toy, it spat him out. He fell below the clouds, drenched in blood and frozen rain, and landed in a quiet forest in North Carolina. When he finally stumbled onto a nearby road, covered in frostbite and looking like a ghost, a car stopped. The driver looked at this man, bleeding from every pore, and almost drove away in terror. William Rankin had done the impossible. He had survived the belly of the beast. So, as you watch me, carefully clean these tiny gears and tighten these bolts. Just remember that life is fragile. 1 minute you're flying high, and the next you're a yo-yo in God's own thunderstorm. Subscribe to DD Media for more stories that defy logic. And maybe stay on the ground today.